Hello readers, and thank you for joining me for another spelling lesson. Today we are looking at SAVVAS MyView Literacy Unit 1 Lesson 3 for 4th grade. Our pattern this week is words with a VCE pattern, and our story this week is Twins in Space. So if that describes you, you're in the right place. So our pattern this week is VCE. Sometimes you might call it Magic E. And basically, if a word or a syllable has a vowel followed by a consonant and an E, just like this, the E is usually silent and the vowel usually makes the long vowel sound. So that's the basic rule that we're going to see in all of our words this week. Now we're still going to go through our same routine. We're going to say the word, we're going to count the syllables, we're going to say the word again, we're going to spell the word, we're going to write it, and then we're going to circle that VCE pattern at the end of each word. Are you ready? Let's get started. Our first word is educate. Say educate. Count the syllables. Ed-u-cate. Educate. Smash it or spell it. E-D-U-C-A-T-E. Educate. And write it. And as you write it, as usual, I will spell it for you out loud so that you don't have to stare at the screen. E-D-U-C-A-T-E. And of course, our VCE pattern is at the end. In our stories this week, the astronauts wanted to educate everyone about how space affects the human body. So they sent one twin to space while the other stayed on Earth. Our next word is supervise. Say supervise. Count the syllables. Supervise. Supervise. Spell it. S-U-P-E-R-V-I-S-E. Supervise. And write it. S-U-P-E-R-V-I-S-E. And what's our pattern? I-S-E, that's correct. Circle that. NASA scientists need to supervise the twin in space carefully to make sure he stayed healthy during the mission. Our next word is cyclone. Say cyclone. Count the syllables. Cyclone. Cyclone. Spell it. C-Y-C-L-O-N-E. Cyclone. And write it. C-Y-C-L-O-N-E. And our pattern? O-N-E, that's right. Go ahead and circle that. The astronauts were amazed when they saw a giant cyclone, a powerful spinning storm with strong winds, swirling on a planet from their spaceship window. Our next word is distribute. Say distribute. Count the syllables. Distribute. Distribute. Spell it. D-I-S-T-R-I-B-U-T-E. Distribute. And write it. D-I-S-T-R-I-B-U-T-E. And of course the pattern is U-T-E, that's correct. Circle that. The scientists decided to distribute special tasks between the twins to see how their bodies would respond differently in space and on Earth. Our next word is participate. Say participate. Count the syllables. Participate. Participate. Whoops. Spell it. P-A-R-T-I-C-I-P-A-T-E. Participate. Write it. P-A-R-T-I-C-I-P-A-T-E. I-C-I-P-A-T-E. And of course, circle that pattern, the ATE. Both twins were excited to participate in the space experiment, with one twin going to space and the other staying on Earth. Our next word is fascinate. Say fascinate. Count the syllables. Fascinate. Fascinate. Spell it. F-A-S-C-I-N-A-T-E. Fascinate. Write it. I'm sorry. Let me say it again. I messed up. F-A-S-C-I-N-A-T-E. I hope that didn't mess you up. And of course, circle that pattern, ATE. The experiment with the twins in space began to fascinate scientists, as they wanted to see how the brothers would change in different environments. Our next word is criticize. Say criticize. Count the syllables. Criticize. Criticize. Spell it. C-R-I-T-I-C-I-Z-E. Criticize. And write it. C-R-I-T-I-C-I-Z-E. And of course our pattern. That's right, circle the I-Z-E. Some scientists began to criticize the experiment, questioning whether the differences between the twins were really caused by space travel. Our next word is envelope. Say envelope. Count the syllables. Envelope. Envelope. Spell it. E-N-V-E-L-O-P-E. Envelope. And write it. E-N-V-E-L-O-P-E. What's our pattern? O-P-E, that's right. The spaceship carried a special envelope with important instructions for the twin in space. Our next word is module. Say module. Count the syllables. Module. Module. Spell it. M-O-D-U-L-E. Module. And write it. M-O-D-U-L-E. What's our pattern? U-L-E. In Twins in Space, the astronauts lived in a special space module where they conducted experiments to learn about living in space. Our next word is survive. Say survive. Count the syllables. Survive. Survive. Spell it. S-U-R-V-I-V-E. Survive. And write it. S-U-R-V-I-V-E. Of course, circle our pattern. The astronauts had to learn how to survive in space by eating special foods and wearing special suits to keep them safe. Our next word is imitate. Say imitate. Count the syllables. Imitate. Imitate. Spell it. I-M-I-T-A-T-E. Imitate. Write it. I-M-I-T-A-T-E. What's our pattern? A-T-E, that's correct. In Twins in Space, the astronaut twin tried to imitate the exercises he did on Earth to stay healthy while he was in space. Our next word is impose. Say impose. Count the syllables. Impose. Impose. Spell it. I-M-P-O-S-E. Impose. And write it. I-M-P-O-S-E. What's our pattern? O-S-E. In the story Twins in Space, the scientists didn't want to impose strict rules on the twins, but they needed to make sure the experiment was safe for everyone involved. The next word was contribute. Say contribute. Count the syllables. Contribute. Contribute. Spell it. C-O-N-T-R-I-B-U-T-E. Contribute. And write it. C-O-N-T-R-I-B-U-T-E. Our pattern? U-T-E, that's correct. The astronauts hoped their experiment would contribute valuable information about how space travel affects our health, helping scientists learn more about space and the human body. Our next word is episode. Say episode. Count the syllables. Episode. Episode. Spell it. E-P-I-S-O-D-E. Episode. And write it. E-P-I-S-O-D-E. And our pattern? Of course, ODE, the VCE. In the story Twins in Space, each episode of their space journey showed how the twins' experiences were different because of the effects of space travel. The next word is acquire. Say acquire. Count the syllables. Acquire. Acquire. Spell it. A-C-Q-U-I-R-E. Acquire. And write it. A-C-Q-U-I-R-E. Circle the pattern. I-R-E, that's correct. The twins worked hard to acquire knowledge about space travel and how it changes their bodies. The next word is advertise. Say advertise. Count the syllables. Advertise. Advertise. Spell it. A-D-V-E-R-T-I-S-E. Advertise. And write it. A-D-V-E-R-T-I-S-E. Of course, the pattern? I-S-E, that's correct. To help people learn about their exciting space mission, the astronauts used posters and videos to advertise their journey to the public. Our next word is corrode. Say corrode. Count the syllables. Corrode. Corrode. Spell it. C-O-R-R-O-D-E. Corrode. And write it. C-O-R-R-O-D-E. And our pattern? O-D-E, that's correct. When the astronauts examined the space station, they noticed that the metal parts could corrode if they weren't kept clean and dry. The next word is ridicule. Say ridicule. Count the syllables. Ridicule. ridicule. Spell it. R-I-D-I-C-U-L-E. Ridicule. And write it. R-I-D-I-C-U-L-E. And the pattern? Whoops, actually is U-L-E. Let me fix that. Even though the scientists initially ridiculed the idea of space twins, their research later showed how important it was for understanding space travel. And our next word is cooperate. Say cooperate. Count the syllables. Co-op-er-ate. Cooperate. Spell it. C-O-O-P-E-R-A-T-E. Cooperate. And write it. C-O-O-P-E-R-A-T-E. What's the pattern? A-T-E, that's right. The twin astronauts had to cooperate with each other and their teams on Earth to make sure the space mission was a success. The next word is recognize. Say recognize. Count the syllables. Recognize. Recognize. Spell it. R-E-C-O-G-N-I-Z-E. Recognize. And write it. R-E-C-O-G-N-I-Z-E. What's the pattern? I-Z-E, that's correct. Scientists wanted to recognize the differences between the twins after one spent a year in space, so they carefully studied their health. And that is our last word. Thank you for sticking around to the very end. You're studying hard, you're getting smarter every day, and until next time, happy reading.